All right, Bang Bang. Today is Monday. It is November 29th. Welcome to the Dog Walk presented by Barstool Sports. It's Snake Draft Monday, and our guest on Zoom is Jerry Thornton. Jerry, how are you?
Fellas, thanks very much for bringing me onto your little rocket ship to the moon here.
Of course. So, Jerry, I've had you on my list. I wanted to get you involved in the draft, and I was like, you know what would be good for Jerry? We're thinking some real good old school NFL topics, something that would be great. And instead, we're going with tools, as people could probably read from the description, because I got to be honest, Jerry, I thought I was talking to Jersey Jerry.
Until like 2 minutes ago.
All right, well, listen, it's been a pleasure. Thanks very much. So I've been with Portnoy from the beginning, and the first time a guy comes along that has the same first name as me, now I'm been eclipsed.
You're Jerry too. How does that feel?
Yeah.
Jerry,
No. I'm going to be the Jerry one here. I didn't start with this in 2004 and work for months for no money because Portnoy had a tough month at the track or whatever. Just so that in 2021 I can be replaced by the first jabroni who comes along with a similar first name. No. Stick with Jersey's Jerry.
Jerry?
That I don't mind. I'm not going to force him to change his name, but...
Jerry, we agree. We're four old school guys here, so I could say we all appreciate your work. We've been following you forever.
I used to want to be Jerry Thornton.
Really?
Like when you were like, I'm the Blackhawks guy, and I remember being like, I think Jerry covers his team better than anybody else on the internet. I would like to be the Blackhawks version of Jerry Thornton. Mm-hmm. And you do have Jerry Thornton 1 in your Twitter handle, so like you are Jerry 1.
See, there you go.
Yep.
I knew that even before there was a Jersey Jerry.
No.
I think I was probably on Twitter before he was born.
Are you
okay.
Gerard, a Jerome, a Gerald?
I'm a Gerard.
You're Gerard?
And
It's fancy.
Yeah, and spelled Jerry with a J, and it's something that breaks people's brains. It turns them into origami. I get it. It's just I don't know. I like the name Jerry. I got a bunch of people in my family who begin with J, so I did it. But yeah,
well, we very much appreciate you, Jerry, for sure. I just I set up a very blue collar topic. You're a blue collar guy as well, though, so we'll be okay.
I got a collection of power tools, fellas, indoor, outdoor equipment. Been a homeowner for a bunch of years. This isn't like, it's not exactly like you took, the figure skater and said, hey, tell us what your favorite, type of circular saw is.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm fairly handy.
It's funny that you went with figure skating there because you're the only guy that can probably cover both things.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And
range.
I like it unironically, believe it or not. Yeah, it's a part of me that I get to share at Barstool only because of what it does to the comment section. Like I've been triggering those animals for 15 years on this stuff, and Portnoy loves it. In fact, the first thing I ever wrote about it was in the old paper edition, and the headline on the front cover was Jerry Thornton comes out of the closet.
Jerry, I'm actually thrilled for that. I think this is going to be great. This is an awesome left turn. So I'm happy you're here, Jerry.
Thanks for having me. And I'm kidding about the other thing, but feel free to continue to patronize me. I respond to that. It doesn't even have to be sincere.
No. It is though.
It's up to me. I'm fine. I don't get enough of that in my life. So.
No. So all right, Jerry. We will pick the order now. Producer Harry over there has a number 1 through 5 behind his back. What number do you think it is?
I think it's 4.
No.
It is not. Carl.
3.
No.
2.
Yes.
I'll go in the 3rd spot.
Dave, 1 through 4.
1.
Yep.
I'll go first.
It's 3 weeks in a row here. He's number 2.
Wow. All right, 1 through 3 for me. 3.
Yep.
I'm gonna go. I'll go 2. Jerry, 1 or 2.
All right. Give me 2.
Yep.
You want the 4th or the 5th spot?
Oh yeah. Okay, strike that. Give me 4th.
4th, okay. Mm-hmm. And then Carl, you'll be the 5th spot. All right, so there you have it. White Sox Dave, Eddie, Chief, Jerry, Carl. Jerry Thornton 1, that is. Just want to make sure people know. Yes. All right. So I don't have anything else, so we'll just kick it off here. With the first pick, White Sox Dave, you're on the clock.
I think there is no better 5-tool athlete that I've ever seen in my life at his respective sport than Ken Griffey Jr. He could do it all.
I thought you were about to take yourself there.
I mean, that it's definitely draftable, but even I don't hold a candle to Junior, the kid. He could do it all. He was just so graceful. Unbelievable outfielder, unbelievable power. He hit for average. He got on base. He didn't strike out. He had a hose of an arm. A lot of people think Mike Trout. Mike Trout's got kind of a rag arm. Not totally a 5-tool player.
We don't give away picks on that.
I mean, he's not a 5-tool player, so it's not a pick.
1 second here. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's Monday. We're pre-recording because of Thanksgiving. I forgot to name the categories. That's on me. There's 5-tool athlete we have, so Dave just took his. There's a hand tool. There's a power tool you get. You get a famous tool. And you get a household tool. So those are the 5 categories. My apologies for not saying it beforehand. White Sox Dave Ken Griffey Jr. continue the fellatio.
Best I've ever seen. Best I've ever seen. And he did it in an era where he may or kind of gotten overshadowed a little bit because of steroid users. If there was no such thing in steroids in baseball throughout the 80s, 90s, 2000s, then Ken Griffey Jr. might have gone down as top 2 or 3 player ever, arguably after Babe Ruth maybe. And I think he's, like I said, one of the best sheer athletes I've ever seen in my life.
It's the coolest.
Hey Jerry, do you remember his dad at all, or like when Junior came up and was playing with Seattle? Like how I obviously don't, but what was that like when they were like, oh yeah, father son are hitting fucking 3-4 today? Or
I saw his dad in his prime. And these are the kind of sentences that you'd never expect to hear coming out of your mouth. Like some guy who's like, son is in the Hall of Fame, and you get to say, yeah, I saw his dad. I was a kid when the Sox played the Big Red Machine in the 75 World Series. And he was a stud, middle of the batting order guy on that team. The following year, they played the Yankees and not only swept them, but they sent 9 men to the plate in the entire series. It was the first year with the DH, and his father was front and center of that. So, yeah, seeing them, there was that game where they each hit, it was back-to-back homers, right?
Yeah.
Which is positively surreal. So, yeah, I'm officially, ready for the glue factory when I can say I saw a Hall of Famer's dad play.
I mean, great pick. I think maybe the top athlete off the board, maybe. Depends on where you're going here.
Yeah.
But
I think when you think 5-tool player, he's the number one guy that comes to your brain.
Are you surprised you went with the 5-tool athlete first?
I am.
I am too.
I'm surprised that I'm surprised no one talked about it. I feel like Ken Griffey Jr., especially for our generation, was so heavily influenced because we were just kids.
Yeah, right.
The video game aspect of it is, to me, is just as big. Because, obviously Junior was awesome. Remember wearing the backward hat, I feel like if we saw Junior play today as adults, we'd have just such a higher appreciation, though, because we understand what the fuck we're watching.
Yep.
But we had an appreciation back then too, though. I think he was just he was marketed properly. He was the guy, and the home run derby in Fenway was at 98, 90.
I think
99.
99. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. 99.
And everyone's like, oh, it's gonna be McGuire. He's just gonna pepper, go over the wall. And
the kid
Griffey going to the deepest parts of that park, and he was. You're right. Great nickname. He was so sweet. Yeah, so sweet.
He's a god.
He's gonna work well for the graphic for sure.
Yeah,
he's gonna work well for the graphic. So
and
maybe it's good.
Those teal Mariners jerseys, when they scored from first base against the Yankees.
Even when he went to the Reds, it was
Yeah, that was a cool story, but he never
it never happened.
Just kept getting hurt, and then gotta give him the shout out for the blackout game. He came in as a defensive replacement in 2008 for the White Sox. He threw the ball out at home plate, or the runner out at home plate, and it's one of the more famous plays in White Sox history, but Ken Griffey Jr. Mm-hmm. Ken Griffey Jr. of the 90s, he's unmatched, I think.
All right, Ken Griffey Jr. off the board. It's to me. I'm going power tool. You run around the college house. Whoever had the good one of these was a huge tool. It's the drill. You need the drill. You need the drill.
Hanging a flat screen.
Whatever it was. Putting the flags in, whatever it was. The guy who had a drill, and there was always usually one guy who had the drill.
Yep. Homecoming week. Hey, we got some. Huge. Hey, fucking Nationals gonna send a guy down. Hey, get these fucking pictures on the wall.
Yep, exactly. So I'm happy to get it. I think that is. Mm-hmm. I mean, definitely for the crossover for the actual people who use it for work a lot, and like the common man, the drill is the perfect tool.
Cordless or do you like a plug-in? With
Cordless.
Cordless.
You gotta get cordless.
Ed, are you a good handyman?
Not at all.
If
Not
you
at
look
all.
behind my TV in my apartment right now, you'll see just a bunch of holes in the wall because I couldn't find the stud when I was trying to hang the TV, and I eventually said, fuck it, after about 12, that I just bought a TV stand, and now it's...
Damn. You know what? Okay, you got to get a stud finder.
I got a stud finder.
We can't give away picks here. We can't give away picks.
But I'm just saying, if you're gonna hang anything of that import,
I swear to God, I bought one. I bought the cheapest one possible. It was like $10 or $12 or something, and thinking that I would never touch it again once I hung this TV, and it did not find studs well.
I've even used the kind that's a magnet, and you just keep going until you go over a drywall screw. So therefore,
Okay, yeah.
There's a stud behind
Yep.
there, 16 inches on center, a couple of bumps, and you're hauling the mail there at that point. So, yeah, my advice to all you kids out there, stud finders.
We're gonna learn something today.
Of course, they always go off around me.
Jesus.
Yeah. I wasn't making that joke as a young homeowner, and it wasn't funny then. It's even less funny now.
Jerry, what do you think of the power drill?
Yeah, definitely was going to be my first one off the board, and cordless. Although for some jobs, you've got to have the plug-in. You got to have.
Those are the better ones, correct?
I feel like they always have more juice to them.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
There's something about, like, Dave and I just went hunting this weekend, but there's something about clicking that battery in and pulling that trigger. Like, you feel like it's a gun. Like, you feel like a badass. And, like, I love a good power drill. Love a power drill.
Look at this. Guy's addicted to firearms. Goes hunting once.
Yep.
Loves the power.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Wait, so can we still talk about stud finders? I just have one comment before.
Well, it's already out there. So
First time I went to a bull riding event, they had a stud finder sponsor, and the stud finder was on the graphic, and they would like go through people to find the stud. Thought that was a clever promo.
There you go.
That's nice. Like Kiss Cam, but for the stud finder.
Exactly. It was. So power drill, I'm happy to have it. I thought Dave was going to take it 1-1, so glad to get in the 2 spot. Chief, you're up.
All right, I'm taking a hand tool here, and it's top of mind right now. Tis the season for it. Ice scraper. If you don't have an ice scraper when you need it, it is the worst feeling in the world. You're trying to, I've used water bottles, I've used my hand, you roll your fist up in your jacket just trying to scrape it off. It is maybe the most valuable tool when you have to have it. So screwdriver, but there are replacements. I don't want to give away picks. Ice scraper. But that to me is the most valuable one, because if you don't have it, you're just sitting in your car waiting for the thaw to happen with your heat on. So I think and everybody has one. If you don't have one, you're fucking up in the winter.
That was the most audible I think I've ever heard.
Yeah.
They're going to be playing that as a drop forever.
Well,
ice scraper, Jerry, what do you got?
Yeah, I just spent the weekend at the West Virginia game. My son goes there and went to see Texas play. The rental car had an ice scraper. It was such a game changer. I said, there's no way they've provided one. I'm going to have to sit here for 45 minutes with the defroster on. Nope. First time this year. Sadly, it won't be the last, but good pick there. All right, I'm going to go with one just because I think this won't last. So I'm going to go with the household tool is how we're framing that category. Right?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I'm going with and this actually might count as 5 tool, but I'm going with this as my household tool, the beloved Swiss Army knife.
Good one.
Try to function without one. Once you've had one, you'll never go back, because it's none of the tools are particularly good in those. It's not the best Allen wrench. It's not the best Phillips head. It's not the best flathead. That magnifying glass wouldn't burn a hole in Sheriff Woody's forehead like the one that Sid used. But
those little fucking scissors.
Yeah.
Yes, those scissors.
Those scissors
the nail
stink.
file. The knife is never that sharp. The bottle opener is damn near impossible. But if you just needed one thing in your life that takes up the space of your thumb and can do all these things, the Swiss Army. I mean, it's the reason why Switzerland has stayed neutral all these years because, that's what they're armed with. But if you don't have one in your junk drawer, do you really have a junk drawer?
Yeah. How about the corkscrew, Jer?
The corkscrew in that is essentially
the little wine screw, right?
Right. Yeah. It's still using all your strength. There's no leverage there. It's just you're guaranteed to get wine all over the place. But you go to some hotel room and you grab a bottle at the liquor store around the corner. How else are you getting in there without the WSA? WAK. S. Swiss Army.
Swiss
SAK.
Army Knife, SAK.
There we go.
SAK. What do you go? Have you ever upped your Swiss Army Knife game and gone with like Leathermans or anything, Jerry?
Got the multi-tool is a huge upgrade too, but it's the less popular one, the kind that you can fold it out and then that pair of pliers comes out with the wire cutter in there. That's good too, but I'm going with the classic.
There you go. I love it.
My brother got one for Christmas one year, and then we were flying maybe a day or two later down to Florida or something, and he tried to go through security with like the Swiss Army knife in his pocket, and you have to like throw the shit out, and my dad's just standing right there like, you fucking asshole.
Like I just bought that.
As disappointed as you could be in not really disappointed, but just like looking at his 16-year-old son like, I tried to do something manly for you, and you can't even. I love a Swiss Army knife.
Are you familiar with the Ulu knife? It's.
I don't think so.
It's kind of a traditional Native American thing. It's popular in Alaska, and it's basically like almost like an axe blade with a handle on top. So went to Alaska, family trip a while ago. Everybody got one of these. My brother packs his in his carry-on. My brother's a grown man. At least your brother was 16. And I said, the first thing I put in my check-in luggage was that. Did you honestly think TSA was going to say, well, it's just a souvenir? Because you have to think, if I have this, everybody on the plane should be allowed to have one.
Uh-huh.
Like, how pig ignorant are you? And again, he's a grown man. So TSA must have the greatest weapons collection in the world. It must be better than the U.S. military, just for people like your brother and mine.
Is there a factor here, though, that the Swiss Army knife is kind of like the TV dinner? It's got a little bit of everything, but nothing that great. That's kind of hurts it.
Yeah, but why do you like a TV dinner? So easy.
Yeah.
The convenience.
Yes.
And I got a buddy on my 16-inch team that actually relies on Hungry Man dinners.
Really?
Yeah. 34, successful.
He likes the brownie?
Loves Hungry Man's.
Well...
I'm surprised they still have Hungry Man. I always felt like that's one of those things that they're just going to have to change the name of eventually. Like when I was a kid, they had like a Sloppy Joe that was called like the Man-Handler. A man-witch is like a meal. And I thought, you know what? It's really kind of reductive and way too gender specific. So good for your buddy. I mean, if he's living off of those, he's probably gonna die young from like sodium and cholesterol.
No, he's in shape. His favorite's his Salisbury steak. Shout out Bones.
No, but you're right. I mean, it should be the hungry woman. It should.
It should be gender neutral.
Yes.
The hungry person. Do you like a TV dinner?
I haven't had one in a while, but
Anybody
I mean,
here? Chief.
They
grew up on
purpose.
those.
Nah, I cook.
All right, Swiss Army knife's off the board. Carl, you're up.
All right. Athlete, I'm going to go celebrity here. I'm going to take my number one tool. Period. Take all the categories off the board, Ed. Let's freestyle this thing. I'm still taking this motherfucker 1-1 overall. Who am I taking, Dave? You know it. You know it.
I'm sure I will. Who?
Mark fucking Wahlberg.
He is
such a tool.
He's a fucking
great.
tool.
Makes great movies. I'll sit down and watch Shooter on TNT. I got no problem with some of his movies. Makes an entertaining movie, but that guy's a fucking tool.
Shooter is on 24 hours a day on one channel or another.
Yeah.
It's always on.
I don't think I've ever seen that movie start to finish, but I've seen every part of that movie 1,000 different times. It's a pretty good movie.
It's pretty good.
But he is the biggest tool. What is it? Four Brothers? Is that?
Yep.
I never saw that.
If it doesn't have to do with vigilante justice, it's not Mark Wahlberg 06 to 2012.
Fighter was good, but yeah,
he was horrible in it though. I thought,
but it's still a good movie.
It's unbelievable movie.
Yeah.
Christian Bale, I put together one of the best acting performances ever. But Mark Wahlberg is such a fucking tool.
Well, let's let Jerry defend the Boston guy here. If he's
it's crazy to me how much Boston is associated just with him, because we've got celebrities like Chris Evans and John Krasinski and Damon and Affleck, but the rest of the country's default setting is that's us. And I
think he leans into it.
Yeah. I defy you to watch 20 minutes of the Spencer movie he did. Now, Spencer was in like a series of novels. He's a private eye in Boston. There was a TV series about him. It's like a Seth Meyers skit making fun of Boston. Everything about it. Like it's let's take the biggest massholes in the world and dial it up by about 45%. Okay, remember the girl that Ted was dating, the teddy bear?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every character is a more exaggerated version of that. And I will never forget that he walked out of the Super Bowl when the Patriots were down 28-3. And then the next year, he dropped the banner after they won. And he
that makes me sick to my stomach.
I didn't know that. I didn't know he dropped the banner. Oh,
that makes me sick.
Wasn't he saying like his kid was sick or something? Like, wasn't he an excuse?
Yeah, he used exactly the excuse that you're going to use when you get caught, basically, bailing on. 2 years earlier, he's up in Brady's face after they beat Seattle, just going like, "You're the greatest of all time. You're the greatest." And you can tell Brady just wants out of the conversation. But it was like it was about him in that moment. Look at me.
He's like Cusack.
Yeah, straight up. It was just like the Cusack thing. And you look into his past, and there's some real ugliness there, which we're not going to.
He said that he would have taken Flight 93 and like safely landed it.
Yeah, wouldn't have gone down that way if he was on the plane.
And the thing is, I don't even think Jerry's referred to that. There's even worse stuff there.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Happening, Jerry? The M. Night Shyamalan movie? Where the trees kill people.
One of these days, I'm going to hate watch it because it's
my god,
makes the top 10 list of
the worst movie
of
all time. But it is so bad, it's weirdly entertaining. I don't not watch it when I see it's on TV. It is the worst movie I've ever seen, with like with zero embellishment in that statement. It's the worst movie I've ever seen.
He made there was a movie called Patriots Day. He had that little stretch of his career where everyone who was a real life hero was played by him, whether it's Lone Survivor, all
Invincible,
by the same director. Yes, Invincible. There was one about a firefighter, I think, at an oil well or something that really.
Oh, that was the New Orleans one. It's like Deepwater Horizon.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
So during that stretch of his career, they made one about the marathon bombing. And they took all these real characters and then threw this fictional one in there, played by Mark Wahlberg, who was a beat cop who was everywhere all the time, like always had jurisdiction. Like he's telling the FBI like what the buildings were on Boylston Street. Right, because, they don't have Google Earth. Right? Thank God Mark Wahlberg is here to tell us what store was next to the other store. And it just... Again, he's the hero of every story that he tells. He's the hero of every movie, even over real life people that risk their lives to, save people.
He stinks.
Yeah. It seems like people like the pick, Carl.
Yeah. He's that touch 'em all, Carl. That's nobody can beat that pick for a celebrity tool.
We'll see.
I mean, I don't
see.
know.
I have a couple others on my list, but I have hated on Mark Wahlberg. As long as I have had a platform at Barstool Chicago and he's ever come up, I've always found an opportunity to shit on Mark Wahlberg. That's because I hate his fucking guts. Well, I know I shouldn't. He's just such a tool. We'll just say that.
And
eye rolling. He's an eye roll. It's like, oh, this fucking guy. Here we go.
But his movies are typically awesome too. We just talked about The Happening, which is the worst piece of shit ever made. But like usually his movies are awesome. He just sucks. He's such a fucking tool. Yeah, great pick. I could not agree more.
Thank you, boys. Thank you. And I hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. Okay. Second round, first overall pick, 6th overall of the draft. I'm going to go into the athlete category. I'm going to take a guy who had better tools than Griffey. He was faster. He had a much better arm. He hits for more power. Not to mention he won a fucking Heisman, was an all-star in Major League Baseball, was fucking ran through people in the NFL. I'm taking Bo Jackson. I'm going to talk about tools athlete. Bo Jackson had so many tools he had to go play another fucking sport.
He played 2 sports. That's all you got to say.
He was an all-star in both.
Yep.
We may be boondoggling our way into hunting with him soon.
I think we are.
Yeah. He's Bo Jackson is friends with Sydney Wells and her family, so I will be picking the brain of Bo Jackson sooner than later.
Supposedly a great cook and loves cooking.
Bo
Jackson.
You cook.
Yeah, maybe we'll get in the kitchen with Bo.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I think those two. I went with Griffey because he was the better baseball player. But Bo Jackson, obviously, you can't argue that at all.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, I was kind of hoping you'd sneak back through. That's a mistake on my part. He won. You mentioned the Heisman. He won an All-Star Game MVP. Once made a throw from the warning track. That was a strike at home in Kansas City, which is not a small ballpark, and once cracked a bat over his head.
Yeah,
Who does that?
He's a freak of nature.
How special do you have to be? Like Tecmo Bowl Bo Jackson isn't actually as impressive as real flesh and blood Bo Jackson.
That 30 for 30 is great too, and they made a point in that saying like he's the last great mythical athlete because it was before like everything was on before ESPN had really taken over, before there was like YouTube and all these things where you just saw the highlights, you just hear things and it'd be like, he is like that guy. It's like, what? Bo Jackson hit 5 what? And like he's just a freak of nature. And then I love the story about how he got the nickname. He was killing hogs by throwing rocks like as an 8-year-old or something. Like hit a pig in the head from like 50 yards away with a rock and killed the pig. Like that's how, I don't know what Bo has to do with that, but that's what they say in the documentary. It was like, yeah, like they just named him after that because he was killing pigs with rocks. Like that's how strong his arm was, even as a small child.
You think we'll ever see a dual athlete again?
I don't know, man. I really don't think so. Like,
because I don't really remember him.
Who are the closest? I think Eric Decker was pretty good he was really good at baseball, but like he could have probably made it up to AAA while he was a Pro Bowl receiver.
Julius Peppers was obviously like at North Carolina was a starter for the basketball team while being the best defensive player in the country.
That was a surefire Hall of Famer.
Kyler
Murray. Kyler Murray was the, I want to say, 6th overall pick by Oakland.
Kyler's probably the...
Yep. And he would have played Major League Baseball if he wanted to.
Yeah, Kyler, that's a good one.
We're forgetting Deion Sanders.
Well, yeah.
Yes, Deion.
He's on the board here, Jared.
Okay, yeah, but
that's I do that too, though. I do that too.
Sport guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so impressed with Greg Paulus when he transferred to Syracuse to play quarterback.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was wild.
Yeah.
Fuck Greg Paulus.
He beat, or no, did he beat? I saw him play against Northwestern. He was good. Which, like, how can you just pick up and be good at something?
He was just your classic Duke white point guard, little kind of fucky, like.
But I think he was Gatorade National Player of the Year as a football player, as a senior.
Yeah, he was good.
Sure, yeah.
All right, Jerry, it's back to you.
Back to me. And real quick about Bo Jackson, you guys probably don't remember the hype around Brian Bosworth, but it was unprecedented for a guy that never amounted to crap, and he was this household word, and he dyed his hair and put streaks in his temples or whatever, and then gets into the pros, and the most memorable play he ever made was getting trucked by Bo Jackson on like an 88-yard touchdown run. Just first guy to make contact, and he was barely like a speed bump, and it's one of the great highlights of all time. And Jackson became a hero to us all then. All right, so I'm going to stick with the 5-tool athletes, and I had a lot to choose from. But I'm going with a current guy. I'm going with Mookie Betts.
Ooh,
I like that pick a lot.
Awesome athlete. I think ESPN or
average,
Sports Center.
Can hit for power, can field, can run the bases, can throw. And now I'm going to add a 6th tool to his arsenal. He's a world-class bowler.
This is true.
Have you seen him play basketball?
Yeah.
Like he's a world class athlete. Like he can do 360 dunks. How tall is he? He's like
he
5'10".
wins that bowling championship all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got something like, and I apologize for not knowing the exact number, but he's got at least a half a dozen perfect games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that 100%.
Yeah, he could be on tour right now, and I don't know if pro bowlers make the kind of money that he's making from the Dodgers.
Well, he's $300 million man. I doubt that.
Okay, I mean, I don't, you know.
But I mean, he's so good at bowling that as soon as he retires from baseball, I would not be shocked to see him on the pro bowling tour.
Is he like super passionate about it?
Yeah, he loves
it.
bowling.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
And I want to thank
he
the Red
and Chris
Sox
Paul
for letting him go because
Really?
they thought
Did
they
not know
couldn't
that.
afford him. Yeah, that was a nice move by them, just to watch him go to the National League and be the best player there. Thanks. We loved the guy, and he was homegrown, and he did it all. Plus, he was a bowler, and they just sent him packing to save money. But okay, keep bumping those ticket prices up, jackasses.
That hurts. Mookie Betts. It makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good pick. Fine pick.
Chief, you're up.
I'll stick in the athlete category. I'll go with Ohtani. So Ohtani, the guy who can literally do everything. He can even run. I feel like people don't know that too, but power.
He's like one of the fastest players in baseball.
But like that never gets talked about.
Yeah.
And obviously like a guy who's a frontline starter and like the best power hitter on the team besides Trout, and Ohtani to me is like a no brainer. And I'm thrilled to have him here. If we're having a run on athletes, I'm happy to have Ohtani in the second round.
And we've got 4 athletes off the board already, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 off the board. Okay. So I'm not gonna use mine until the last round. Great pick. I mean, he fucking revolutionized.
Yeah.
I mean, we've never seen it, right?
No, it's been like 100 years. Yeah.
So
I'd like to see him play the field more.
Yeah.
I'd like to see
Joe
him play
Madden
more.
said that
period.
he would play shortstop every day if he let him.
Really?
Really?
Joe Madden said he would. He like shows up every day trying to shag balls in the outfield during BP and like chase down grounders and stuff.
It's a good pick.
Anybody?
All right, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with a household tool. You need this around. If you don't have this, you're gonna find yourself in some bad situations. And I'm going with the fucking plunger.
Oh, plunger's a good one.
You gotta have the plunger, man. I mean, you know that helpless feeling when you see that water coming up and you're at maybe random house, you know where you are. If that thing's not there, like you might as well be 6 feet under. You just want to die.
It's the
Can
worst
I tell you something?
possible
I had that moment this weekend. They call it the man cave. Was out in this like furnished barn out at Sydney's parents' house, and they did not have one in there, and it was like holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, and then it like dropped. And it went down. I was like, "Oh God!"
It probably was the best feeling you've ever had in your entire life.
Yeah, it was like the most relief ever. And like Ed, it never even occurred to me to draft plunger. That's a home run pick.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
can't live without them.
Yep.
Whenever I'm taking a dump at a stranger's place, I flush like 1,000 times before I even plop the toilet paper in. I don't risk it.
You have a fetish about dumping at people's places, I feel like.
No, I avoid it like the plague.
I feel like I remember when I used to live in 1720 South Michigan, you'd like seek out opportunities to drop a rat at
That
my
is
place.
absolutely false. It's like seeing Halley's Comet, me taking a dump at a place that's not my toilet. I've never shit here before.
No.
I've never shit here. But I was out of town for 2 days, so I could only hold it for so long, and like it was just you had to go. But you're fucking making shit up.
All right, is it possible to invent like a pocket plunger for just what we're talking about?
I think you're onto something, Jerry.
A disposable emergency?
Yeah, something that like collapses, maybe like the way like some drinking
I
cups
love
do,
this
because-
What
idea.
about like a Roman swipe where you pull it out and it like just instantly dissolves all the toilet paper and you just flush it with it? Something like that.
Would be fantastic. It's bad enough when a member of your own family clogs it up. Like they feel bad, they are embarrassed or whatever. But yeah, nobody drops a deuce at a friend's house unless it's an absolute emergency.
Right.
I just split a hotel room for the weekend with the Irish Rose. We've been married 28 years. I don't want her following me in there because it's a deal killer. Like I'll wait till 3 a.m. and hope that I don't wake her up. But yeah, the plunger thing, that's a brilliant pick, and I never thought in terms of that, but it's
great pick.
Thank you guys. Thank you. There's just when you see that water coming,
it's the worst feeling on earth.
Yeah, your heart just.
Yeah.
Few things can get your heart moving that way, and that's one of them. And if you don't see that fucking red punt or even the black, whatever it is, you need it. What do you think?
No, I think it's a great pick, and the scenario when you need it and you don't have it though, and
hurts. All right, White Sox, Dave.
House party, by the way. If you threw a house party in high school, would you?
I've told this story before. I was at Joe's on Weed. Like
a girl ruined our first floor toilet.
Oh no! Oh yeah,
she probably never showed her face.
Really hot girl too. My buddy was like trying to.
I was at Joe's on Weed for a concert like 5 years ago, and it was the middle of winter, and I didn't feel like taking a dump in the bathroom that was going to be fully loaded with people. So I went to the Whole Foods across the street and took a dump along the back of the wall.
Have you ever taken it? No. The back
like
outside?
Outside. I mean, it was like along the river. No one saw me. There was nothing there, but desperate times call for desperate measures.
What about the OTB bathroom that's right next to it?
Ooh, nope.
Nope, can't do it.
I have. Anyways.
Plunger someone's face. White Sox, Dave, you're up.
I'm going to go power tool. I'm going to go, I feel like this is the prototypical tool that, like that guy's a man. That guy has a power saw. Like you're not a man unless you have a power saw. I'm not a man. I'm far from a man. I'm a child. I don't have a power saw.
Which one though? I feel like you got to be more specific.
I'm talking like the one that you like the table saw. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there's a table saw.
Yeah, the table saw. Where you chop up 2x4s and shit, and that noise of it's like the high pitched thing.
Yep.
Get
the point of the table saw is it's got the edger on there so that you can you press against it, you can get a straight cut.
Yep.
So if you're doing sheets of plywood, say, anything that needs that precision, the table saw, you can never get a straight cut just by hand. So
nope.
That's where that comes in. Very, very essential tool.
Now, without saying other saws though, Jerry, is it worthy of being the first saw off the board?
There's so many, and I don't want to tip off.
I'm just saying,
about maybe where I'm going with my pick, but that's a good one.
Yeah, I would say, obviously, I did some research.
Which saw is this again?
Like the table saw.
It's like
the
round one, and you
yeah.
press it
down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just fucking.
I feel like that was like
what was it?
Those are big in like shop class too. Like I feel like every shop class had one of those too.
I have a text message.
Yes.
That's funny.
All right, Dave. What's your next pick?
My next pick, I'm gonna go celebrity tool. I'm gonna go with the Biebs. He's such a fucking tool.
Ooh, the Biebs.
I think that's kind of an outdated take.
He's a fucking tool.
It is a little outdated, but he did have his heyday of being a major tool.
Yeah.
So it's a conflicting pick for me personally.
I like the Biebs.
He's such a fucking tool. He's got the most punchable face on earth. He thinks he's tough.
I feel like he's reformed.
Music stinks.
I always felt like the shit that he was pulling, my issue with it was he wasn't a good enough musician for that. Like, all right, there was that time he went down a cul-de-sac at like 90 miles an hour or something. Okay, if you're Eddie Vedder, all right, you know what? We'll look the other way on that. But you're Bieber.
Yeah.
And, the time he pissed in the mop bucket at a restaurant, his buddy videotaped.
Oh, I didn't know that story.
He's a
up.
fucking tool.
Yeah, you know what?
That one is of more recent vintage too. That might be 4 or 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They were just cutting out through the kitchen to get out, and he just thought it would be funny to piss in the mop bucket. Yeah, great. The guy who's making
I
like $2 under
that,
minimum wage to clean that up is going to really appreciate the laugh you've had. But has it been a while since he's really done something?
I feel like it has been a while, but that story about the mop bucket one, that solidifies the pick as a good pick for me. I had never heard that story. Like that to me is like you're a piece of shit. So I guess
his deposition was something too. Do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Yeah, and I know like it's like kind of become a thing for people to be funny in their depositions, but I feel like
is that a thing?
I mean, obviously,
Dave didn't do his deposition thinking he would be funny, did he?
Smitty, oh yeah, Dave definitely sat down at the deposition and was like, "I'm trying to use these clips." Yeah, I think Smitty was too, but like, I don't know, whatever.
That'd be.
But yeah, it's like you said, it's a decent pick. We'll see how the people react.
He's a fucking tool. Fuck him.
All right, it's back to me. But before I make my third round pick, I do want to talk about Upstart here. If you're in a situation out there where debt's really bothering you and it's really dragging you down the way that you live, be thankful that there's companies like Upstart who can help you out, okay? We talked about it a lot on this show throughout 2021, and it has helped a lot of people. A lot of my listeners have reached out and said, hey, thanks a lot for telling me about Upstart. So definitely check them out. It's a fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan that's all done online. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 1 million people have used Upstart to get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. Rather than looking at a credit score, Upstart considers other factors like your income, current employment, and credit history to find you a smarter rate for your loan. You can check your rate without impacting your credit score, which is nice too. No one likes to get that thing dinged. In minutes for loans between $1,000 to $50,000, and you can even receive the funds as fast as one business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/Eddie. That's upstart.com/Eddie. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. One more time, upstart.com/Eddie. Make sure you're using it. If you're in trouble, it's a good way to dig yourself out. So it's just a smarter way to go. I'm going to go with, I'm going to keep going with the last actual tool. I'm going to go with the hand tool. And I'm going to go with one that everybody really needs to use because whether it's a remote or any type of thing that needs batteries, you need a screwdriver. So screwdriver is very,
I think
very,
you have to be more
essential.
specific.
You're going to make me pick.
Yes.
No,
I don't think you got
that's crazy, dude.
I do not think so.
That's crazy.
I think there's a big difference.
Between the P and the F?
Yeah.
No, Chief, that's crazy.
Because one you can use kind of universally. Like you can, whatever. All right, fine.
Do you guys
Screwdriver,
agree
take
with
them
that?
both.
I don't.
With what?
That I have to choose the P
No,
or the
I don't.
F?
I don't think
No,
so.
it's screwdriver. I mean,
All right. Well,
when would you have one without? I don't know. When would you have access to one without the other?
well, what do you mean?
I know they're I think you're.
Splitting hairs?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think, Jerry?
Can I suggest the reversible kind?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
have one that
Same
tool.
It's got two sides Phillips heads and two flat heads.
Yeah.
And you can just reverse it
Yeah.
like that, and it's worth its weight in gold. So
Yeah.
you know.
That's a great one,
Yeah.
too.
Okay.
Okay, so if you make that your pick, it still qualifies. But
All right. So now that they're both off the table, but when you only have a Phillips and you need a flat, like you're fucked. Like that can't go in there. You can always kind of use. Like you can kind of like
Cheat it?
with the
Yes.
flathead to get in the Phillips
Yes.
to make it work. But so I think a flathead is better than a Phillips.
But I feel like Phillips is more applicable to everybody, like I said, when it comes to remotes and fucking
Yeah.
the Roomba and whatever the fuck you're using.
You have a
know?
Roomba?
No.
you don't need a screwdriver for a room.
No, yeah, it probably got a docking station, right? So that was a
Does.
bad example.
I've never had a Roomba, but
The fucking
I'm thinking about getting one.
I think my dog would freak out.
It's worth
He
it.
wouldn't
think
like
so.
You have one?
Are they loud?
What do
They're
you mean?
quiet, right? Roombas?
I thought you said, are they allowed?
No. Are they loud?
You know they're running.
Okay.
I think they're totally worth it though.
Do you have to
Anybody
turn the
who has a
volume
room,
on the TV if it's running?
yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But like,
do-
it's a good thing to do. It's good. It's if you're like doing errands or you're doing laundry or you're like doing it's just a good like first thing to do, and then the thing starts clean, and then you just like instantly feel good about yourself while the place is being cleaned up.
I might
and,
make an
like,
investment into a Roomba. What do you think about that, Jerry? They're expensive,
see,
right?
I
highly
always wonder-
indestructible.
$500
I
bucks.
always
think.
wonder if they're effective because do they not leave unvacuumed places? I mean, like, are they scientifically designed to know the spots they miss?
Yeah, the pattern, they've got some like weird sensor technology that allows them through its like mapping to like map out what the room looks like or like what their surroundings are supposed to cover. And so it'll go over like a rug to hardwood floors into like a bathroom. It does trust me, whatever you think the limitations are, like they've R&D'd them out.
Well, I can do my whole upstairs in 10 minutes, and I do it about once every 6 months. So yeah, maybe I have to just get the freaking Roomba finally and break down.
I've opened myself up to all these horror stories too. I know people are gonna reach out to me and be like, "Dude, no, one time my Roomba." So
also,
I
I forget the other thing too. Besides the remote control, is the fucking the smoke alarm. If you ever get in a situation where your batteries are dead and you're like, "What the fuck?"
Dude, my current apartment and my last apartment, the smoke alarm was so fucking sensitive I could barely use the microwave. I unscrew them, and I got in trouble at my last place because it's like against their it fucks up their insurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I screwed it back in, and every time I knew they were doing like a maintenance visit or anything, I'd pop it back in, but that thing's always.
I feel like I haven't had a
one that has you screw.
Yeah, they always just kind of like you screw the whole unit and it pops out.
That's what I do.
Yeah,
I just undo it and then I hide it in my closet.
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
I had an old roommate who couldn't cook anything without setting off the smoke alarm because he was an idiot, and he complained to the landlord about how loud the smoke alarm was, and the landlord looked at him and said, "So you saying it's loud enough to wake you up from a sound sleep if the house is on fire?" He goes, "Yeah, like can't you like turn it down?" Like I think if he could have put a snooze button on it, he would have.
He would have done it. I
decided I'm gonna get married and live with like a human being and not like with these troglodytes for the rest of my life.
All right, yeah, screwdriver. I'm happy to get there. I know there's another big one on the board, but I think that one's more useful for everyday life. Chief, you're up.
Can you go over the categories one more time for me? Because I feel like plunger and screwdriver would both be in the same category, no?
So power tool, well, screwdriver, you also need it in other situations. So.
Yeah, I'm just a little confused.
So it'd be power tool, a hand tool, a 5-tool athlete, a famous tool, and a household tool.
So household plunger.
Yes.
Okay, all right, hand tool. Okay. All right. I'll go with power tool, and this is something like my mom has. She used to like just like was always like refurnishing our like different furniture and tables and buying old shit, and it's that electric sander. So you plug that thing in or with a battery pack and you just go over that smoothly. You're smoothing out the surface. I wish I had taken that smell in the smells draft because that like that wood, that sawdust smell, I think that is so fucking good. And it's also just like a kind of a fun thing to do. Like I don't mind doing those little projects in the garage too, where you're just going over some old table with an electric
belt
sander. Yeah, I don't know if it's technically a belt sander. I think Jerry would probably.
Yeah, so you've got the kind where the piece of sandpaper that goes on the bottom is a square.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Like a handheld thing.
Correct.
Whereas a belt sander.
It rotates.
Like the tanks
it's like a treadmill
of a tank.
Yeah.
The treads of a tank. And so I do the hand sander, and you're absolutely right. I redid a table a while ago that had got some water damage, and you feel like an artist.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I love the hand sander.
The electric sander. Dave, what do you think of that pick?
Nah.
It's a good pick.
I could do without. I'll probably never in my life use a sander
I think you're
again.
more likely to use that than your you picked a table saw.
I was drafting the table saw like based on badass of it, and I know that I don't qualify for like what a table saw is and represents. I'm nowhere close to it because I'm
that's the difference here. So I'll take things that I've used and have used and will use. It's the age-old discussion of the snake draft.
I'm not pandering. It's just like
Shohei Ohtani guy.
What's that? Yeah, I like Shohei Ohtani.
All right, electric sander.
You don't like him enough to know that he absolutely stunk at the dish in the second half.
You're right about that.
Electric sander off the board. Jerry, you're up.
Okay, I've been doing some scouting on the power tools, but specifically the outdoor tools league, and for that reason, I'm going with one that has a lot of cachet, and I think it maybe is the sexiest pick still on the board. I'm going with the chainsaw.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got a chainsaw. That was that moment where I said, today I'm a man. When I was a boy, I didn't have a chainsaw. And I live out in the burbs. I'm surrounded by woods. If a tree comes down in a storm or whatever and it blocks the driveway.
You do it yourself. I got my dad a chainsaw last Christmas.
Did you really?
Yep. They're expensive
electric
too.
Or gas?
It's gas. It was gas.
Which is better?
If you get a really good gas one, yeah, I had one that just wouldn't shut off even when I let go of the there's that bar that has to go down for the thing to work, and as soon as it comes back, it's supposed to shut off. And I said, I'm going to lose an arm at some point, so I just went with the plug. I have the setup for that, but you're going out deep into the woods to take out some future firewood for your pit or whatever. You want that independence, but there's a reason why there's such a staple of the horror industry and commercials and Clark Griswold, coming out with the mask, the hockey mask on and crap, because it is a badass piece of equipment. You never don't feel like you're all man when you've got that blade whirring. I also feel like it might be the biggest discrepancy between like the manual version, like a manual saw or a handheld saw, versus the
regular one.
Yeah, like just if you're just sitting there, like, cause we never had a chainsaw, so whenever I had to do like projects, like every time I got in trouble, I was doing like manual labor projects.
Yeah.
So I was just sitting out there like,
get your ass and cut the
right,
grass.
that tree's dead over there. Go cut it down. Like, all right, well, here's a fucking handsaw. And just doing that, like, you would get so sore just going back and forth for fucking hours on this thing. Having a chainsaw would just have been a game changer. I've never used a chainsaw, but you're right. Like they just seem like they're so badass.
Jerry, I got my dad a Steel, like STIHL, I think it is. Are those
Still.
Was that a good?
That's a top-notch brand.
Okay, good.
As a matter of fact, I think they've sponsored a college bowl game in the past.
Oh, really? How?
Which makes you legitimate right then and there, as opposed to going to like Home Depot and getting their like store brand.
Yeah. How alive did you feel the first time you started it up, Jerry?
It was, I think if I like flew a FA-18, I would feel slightly less alive than I did the first time I fired that sucker up. And first time I took a tree down. I've climbed a ladder to take down a branch, like that. There you feel alive because you're close to death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, it's like kind of doing a halo jump.
Yeah.
Like you really appreciate that life is precious because you took yourself so close to the edge.
Oh yeah.
But sometimes guys just get one. Even if you have no use for it, just so you can go out back behind your apartment and just fire that sucker up once in a while, and the erections you will get from this will last you hours.
It's better than Viagra.
Absolutely.
All right, so chainsaw, your power tool.
That's a great pick. I was down to like the table saw chainsaw.
It's probably the way to go.
Absolute nothing you can nitpick about it.
Carl, you're up.
All right, I'm gonna go to the hand category. There's a first round hand tool out there. I don't know how it's still out there. So it's like, do I want to be like witty and funny, or do I just want to like take it right down Broadway? Here, give me 96 miles an hour. Give me the fucking hammer.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
I was hoping it got back to me.
I think there's another when I took screwdriver, but I just thought screwdriver.
I thought you were gonna go hammer.
It was more applicable towards me, but when it comes to hammers, fucking.
Because if you tried to hammer something with, like, I can't find the hammer, or like, where's the hammer at? Like, I think the hammer's downstairs. Like, fuck it, I'll just use this. There's no, like, equitable replacement for the hammer.
Yeah, I mean, hammer's the cowboys of tools, right?
Or do you remember the first time in your life when you realized that the backside of the hammer was to take the nail out, and just, like, how easy those nails came out when you were like, wait a second.
It was a big day.
So. Kind of like what Chief said about his dad, like making him do manual labor. My dad, whenever I would get in trouble for being a little asshole when I was really young, he would make me go out. We had this wooden picnic table, and he would just have me sit out there for like an hour at a time and just hammer nails into it, just so I could like be distracted and not do anything dumb. I don't know why, but that was like my punishment. A lot of
How old
times.
were you?
Young.
Like 6?
Yeah. He would just give me it was a Folgers cup or like can of nails, And he would just be like, go get the nails. Go on, get out there. And I'd just be sitting out there just fucking hammering the picnic table, nails into the picnic table.
That's almost like the Cool Hand Luke go dig a hole and then fill it up. And then dig another hole and fill it back up.
Jerry, you a big fan of the hammer?
Yeah, you know what? That's such a solid pick. Almost like it's just been dangling there in front of us, and I just never spotted it. Like, of course, it. Ask anyone, like, just stop someone in the street and go word association, name a tool. They're gonna say hammer. If it's a Family Feud category, hammer's gonna get 59% of name a common tool. Yep. And somehow we all missed it. We're getting too cute here. So that's like pulling out like a top-notch left tackle in the third round.
Thank you, Jerry.
Of the draft.
Thank you, Jerry. Everybody knows how much I love a fucking left tackle in this draft.
Kicking myself. Although Professor Frank on The Simpsons thought he was going to win the Nobel Prize for inventing a hammer with a screwdriver on the back. I don't know why that's at all relevant, but it's like, why wouldn't we invented that?
That would be next level. Yeah, like I said, I was like, there's still a big one there, but I went screwdriver. I guess maybe people won't like that, but you're up again, Carl. You need household and you need
power.
You
guys all have power, so I'll wait. I'm still letting the power wheels turn. Household, this is maybe not as sexy as a Swiss Army knife, maybe not as functionally practical as a plunger. Like when you need the plunger, like thank fucking God we have a plunger. But this is also very important because when you need to open a shitty bottle of wine or you have bottles in your fridge and they're not twist-offs, the combo corkscrew bottle opener fold up, it's very popular to give to like a groomsman as part of like a wedding package gift, or like you see them come in those baskets around the holiday, like a gift basket with like 2 bottles of wine. There's bound to be I think they're just, is it just like a regular corkscrew? But it's like a collapsible one. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
And they've got the fucking thing at the end that cuts the foil.
The kind they use in the restaurants.
Yes.
Like in the restaurant, the guy doesn't use that one with the 2 arms that looks like a stick figure and swings. That's for hacks. They can stand there and do it with one.
Yes.
That's what the sommeliers use.
Yes. That was good pronunciation.
There's got to be an actual name for it. No, I guess not. No, the first thing that shows up is just wine bottle opener combo.
Sure.
Wine opener, bottle opener combo. No.
So I have a couple of those. Like one's in the junk drawer. The other one's over by like the wine glasses. There's one like over by like the liquor cabinet area. There's like so much comfort knowing. It's kind of like having a lighter. You're like, I know I got a couple of lighters around. Yeah. Like I know I got a couple of these fucking things around.
No, that's a good pick for if you're a wine and if you like to have some alcohol. It's a good one. Anybody else on that?
Nah.
All right. Jerry, you're up. You need a hand tool or a celebrity?
I'm going with a hand tool. I've got hand tool and celebrity tool left. I'm going with the socket wrench.
Ooh.
One of the great inventions of all time. I still don't know how, prior to these things being invented, people took actual wrenches and reached down inside engines and had to turn a thing 360 degrees. Total game changer, and it took the human race, tens of thousands of years to finally invent a thing that fits onto the nut, and you only have to crank it in one direction, and then to loosen it, you flip a switch, you crank it in the other direction. It probably revolutionized the auto industry and construction, and it's an absolute essential household hand tool.
It is a game changer.
I love a socket wrench.
When you say game changer, you say socket wrench.
Exactly.
It's the best.
Yeah.
So I was know okay. How fine. It came to be invented. I always associate it with craftsman tools, but anytime you've been forced to use one and you've said, "How was I ever going to get this job done with just a regular straight up wrench?" And it changed the world.
So I was 25. I just moved into my first 1-bedroom apartment. Moved out with the guys. Had moved into the 1-bed. So you did like 2 years out of grad school you're living with like 3 or 4 other people, and it was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna get my own place. So I get in there, and the shower head fucking stinks. And there were a couple things, and so like my dad was coming by. We're gonna get lunch, and he's looking at the apartment. He's like, "Do you need help with anything?" And so I had like a list of stuff like, I want to do this, I want to do that, like help me figure out how to get the oven in the clean mode. Just like shit he would know how to. So we get to the bath, and I'm telling him, like, the shower head fucking stinks. I'm probably, going to get that replaced. He was like, oh, dude, no, I can help you with that today. And he's like, let me see your socket wrenches. And I was like, what? And he's like, let me see your socket wrenches. He's like, where's your toolkit at? Get the socket wrenches out. I want to see what we're working with here. And, like, not only did I not have the tools, me not knowing what the socket wrench was, like, you want to talk about disappointment on his father's. Like, my dad's just like, you fucking moved it. The fact you were able to move into an apartment on your own, you don't know what a socket wrench is. So,
I kind of feel like that's on him.
You
should have flipped that back on your dad.
Yeah, maybe.
Like, how did you fucking raise me?
Mm-hmm.
That's true. That is true.
Socket wrench.
Socket wrench.
Chief, you're up.
I'm taking a guy. I'm going with the celebrity. I fucking hate this guy, Chris Cuomo. So every time he's on, CNN anchor, always I feel like getting caught with hidden cameras or like people filming him going crazy. Someone called him Fredo. He loses his mind. He makes like jokes that everybody else with the Fredo thing. Which I'll throw you down the fucking stairs. But then he'll go on TV and be like, and denounce violence, and then he goes out there and just threatens to do the exact same thing. That guy is a grade A asshole. He's getting sexual assault or sexual harassment things against him now, just like his brother. He is, to me, like the worst guy on TV. Can't fucking stand him. So it has nothing to do with his politics. I just think that it's as Dave would say, the hypocrisy. Like he will go out there and like lambaste people for different things, and then he'll be caught doing the exact same thing. So Chris Cuomo, to me, the worst guy in media right now.
You remember when he had that beef with his neighbor about, being outside without a mask on when he was known to be positive with COVID back really during the lowest point of the pandemic. And then days later has the cameras film him coming out of his basement for the first time.
Right.
He says he was in self-imposed quarantine. Like, wait a minute, we all know about the other thing that you did, but he presented this as like factual. Like, again, be a dick, but just be an honest dick. Admit that you're a dick. But he treated himself like a hero for coming out of his basement after almost coming to blows with his neighbor. Great choice.
Yeah, those are the specific instances I remember. I just don't know a lot about him besides that.
There's like so many. There's so many. Like if you just Google, like you can pick up like.
What else is he on other than CNN?
What?
He's just CNN, right? Or
I believe so.
As long as I can remember, he's only been CNN.
All right. Well, when he would interview his brother, the governor of New York, on a nightly basis.
Yep.
And then when his brother got in trouble for sexual harassment or whatever, said, "I can't cover this."
Right. Yep. They would.
It wouldn't be fair for me to cover this because I'm biased. Well, you had him on
every night.
Again,
yeah.
Has nothing to do with the politics.
Right. It's the hypocrisy, Jerry. It's the hypocrisy. Yes. Yep. So I can't stand that guy. He's
I don't know if tool is the way I would describe him, though. He's just a fucking asshole.
He's more, maybe is he more of a meathead, maybe?
No, because he's like this sanctimonious, like fucking asshole. Like to me, like he's the media version of Wahlberg. Like he's like, Johnny Toughnuts over there. And then he takes like these holier than thou positions, and then he goes out and does the exact same thing. So I think he is absolutely a tool. Like when I close my eyes, I think of him. I think Wahlberg is like the clear one for that category, but for me, Cuomo is 2.
Yeah. All right.
The woke.
Strong. All right. Chris Cuomo off the board. It's to me. I need an athlete or I need a celebrity. It's just tough because I got 2 that I kind of wanted to take in case people were gone, but there's like 2 heavy hitters right for the taking. So I think I just got to take the heavy hitters. I'm going to take Barry Bonds. I mean, he's multiple Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers, home run leader, over 500 stolen bases.
Stole 500 bases.
Barry Bonds was the ultimate.
He's also a tool.
Yeah, he could have.
That's true.
He is kind of a tool.
So I think that's the.
But he is my Arizona player.
I thought Arizona State tried to kick him off the team, or they had like a vote to kick him off the team, and the coach thought that all the players would come together and be like, "No, we can't kick him off the team." And it was like unanimous, like, get this fucking jag off out of the clubhouse. We hate his guts. He is known to be a fuck, but yeah, Ed, I think we talked about this on a rundown before. He lays claim to like one of the all-time great like legacies, which is without steroids, he'd be a Hall of Famer, first ballot.
He had 2 Hall of Fame careers, they say. Yeah, I think he gets in this year. I think this is his last year on the ballot, I believe.
It is.
I do think he gets in, and there's no excuse for him not to be in. I fucking
How close
hate.
was he last time?
Let's go. I could look that up, but
Is he going to be on your ballot?
Nice
the holier than now.
He was such a
I gotta split
five-tool
them up.
player. He got tired of being a five-tool player. He's like, fuck this. I want to hit home runs. Well, the
Yeah,
market.
I think he watched the home run chase in '97 and just said, "I'm better
98.
than these guys. Why am I doing this?" '98. He had a stretch in the early '90s where I think he almost won 4 straight MVPs, and the streak ended in the middle there, and they voted for like Terry Pendleton or something. And I think it's just because Bonds was such a tool.
They're like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, exactly. And this was, again, pre-roids. He was just your garden variety asshole. I remember him being in like a screaming fit with Jim Leland when Jim Leland was like this revered old, grandpa of the game or whatever. Should have won the MVP. Led the league in just about everything, but they gave it to the nice guy. And then he became and that was the most surprising thing, is he became more unlikable as his career went on.
And he got better and better and better. Yeah, he's one of the most unlikable guys ever. He really is.
7-time MVP.
Sean McDonough, who has covered every sport from the Olympics to college to pros or whatever, and someone asked him, who's the biggest a-hole you ever met? He says, there's so much competition for the second spot, but if Barry Bonds just lapped the field, he's just the biggest twat in the world.
Wow. That says something. But 5-tool wise, he's
he's
fucking.
Without question.
He's 6-tool, like Jerry said. He's a tool, and he had all 5 tools.
What?
Nothing.
He's like the polar opposite of Ken Griffey Jr., who's like maybe the most liked baseball player ever. Barry Bonds is just the exact opposite.
Like my list here, huh?
On a human level.
I do.
I think it's good so far.
I do. We'll see how Screwdriver does it for you. But Power Drill, Plunger, Screwdriver, Barry Bonds. Proud of you, Ed.
White Sox, Dave, you're up.
All right, I got my last 2 picks. I got garage tool and household item. I'm going to go garage tool next. I'm going to go the axe. Thoughts on the axe?
Axe is badass.
It's such a badass.
It's badass.
An axe is just badass.
You laugh.
That's a manly tool. No one walks around with gripping an axe handle
Like
with that,
Paul Bunyan.
that steel blade, and doesn't look like pure man, pure testosterone.
Right, exactly. It's just it's such a simple tool at the same time. No electricity or anything needed. It's probably been around for as long as
This might be the first one.
It might be the first tool ever.
Yeah.
It's just badass top to bottom. There's nothing that's not sweet about an axe, other than the act of doing physical stuff, which sucks. But an axe, like I love the pick, and if you guys don't, you guys can fuck off some more.
What did you dislike about the pick?
No, I didn't dislike anything. I laughed out loud because he said, I'm taking an axe, and I just instantly thought of like going axe throwing with White Sox Dave. Or like White Sox Dave's
I've never
axe
done
throwing
axe
league.
throwing, actually.
I feel like it'd be right in your wheelhouse. You
I
go
mean,
there
I
and
would
throw something
do
as hard as
crow
you
hops.
can.
Yeah. I would, like, everybody was, like, the whole joke this weekend was, like, I was going to Dick Cheney someone hunting. Fair. If I went axe throwing, someone would actually die.
Now you want to talk about getting sore.
Oh, I believe it, yeah. That whole
the
your
muscle
lats.
underneath
Yeah.
your
Oh,
shoulder.
Yeah. Oh,
from
yeah.
Fucking yanking the
I'm
axe.
sore. My shoulder's sore from fucking shooting bows and arrows. Like, because you got to really use your back
Crank
and
it
your
back,
yeah.
You got
it's-
a ranch.
And then
You
for
got household, right?
household, I'm going with remote control. Final pick. I love it. If there wasn't such thing as remote control, I would fucking kill myself because I love watching TV.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it wasn't always the case, right? It was a tool that
You
was
had to walk up
invented
to the TV. If you like, there's times when I'll lose my remote and like cushions, and I'll be like, "Where in the fuck?" Like I consider offing myself because
I get so mad at my dog when I found out that Chaps has trained his dog to sniff out where the lost remote
that's
is.
unbelievable.
And so when my remote is lost, I just look at George. I'm like, the fact that you can't,
what's your problem, George?
Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
turn your nose on and find this remote
I mean, your
right
dog's
now.
probably got an unbelievable nose
He does.
too.
It's so annoying on walks
Ace,
too.
I know Ace can sniff out fucking anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you're useless, George. You're like Ace. What the fuck? What's your problem, man? Like, go and find the remote that I
Do
lost.
something.
Yeah. But
it's
like
hard to put into words the kind of garbage that we would sit through in the pre-remote days because there was no
exactly. You're just too lazy to get up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there was no last channel button, so you would sit through like.
And that's it. The remote
You had to
itself
cycle
has
through
gotten
it. Yeah.
better and
Yeah.
better and better.
Now you
and
just have
better.
to yell at your remote.
You push a button,
Yeah.
say Band of Brothers on HBO. Boom, you're on
Boom.
Band of Brothers.
Yep. I didn't.
It's
It didn't occur to
revolutionary.
me to take remote control.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was like borderline for me. Like, is it a tool?
It
It absolutely is. But like in that regard, like anything could be a tool.
I don't think so.
A chair is a tool for sitting.
Like,
You know, like
Okay.
if you're
Are you protesting the pick?
I'm not, but like it didn't occur to me because I thought we were keeping it more narrow. But it's a great pick, and I remember. So my mom is one of 9, and they had this. So whenever it was Christmas time, like we'd have, I don't know, there's probably 35 first cousins, and so a lot of us would always be in that house for Christmas. And there was one room that had the old school TV that you would have to like. It had like the big knob.
Yeah.
And it would only have like
Yep.
4 channels. And if like you got relegated to like, there was always like 6 of the younger cousins that got you relegated to that, and then it would be like you'd have to like flip a coin or like rock paper scissors to see who would get up to change the channel.
Fucking Brian.
Fucking Brian. Shout out Brian. And he was in the older cousin group actually, so fuck him. He had access to the remote. And the remote control is absolutely, it's a game changer.
All right, remote control at the board. My last pick here. I need a celebrity. I have one that I really wanted that I think is a great sleeper, but there's just one that's just staring me in the eyes, and it's so obvious. And I don't think we could do this draft without taking him, so I have to take Kanye West. I mean, he's the guy who would stand on tables and just say, all right, take your picture of me.
He's got like a god complex.
Yeah, dude.
I kind of think that he's like actually mentally ill.
Maybe, but
Yeah.
regardless, it's never been proved. It's never been real, and he denies it. So
Yeah, I know.
he sells white T-shirts for like $800,
And people buy him.
and
I
people buy
like
them.
his Yeezys. I couldn't do it just because I hate him so much. His music, I absolutely
great.
fucking love.
Do
But
you still like it? Like the newer stuff?
his new album was good.
Okay.
It was good, and it wasn't like College Dropout good. I didn't think, but it was good. Yeah.
I also hate the people who love Kanye. And it's like they're just
He's got
like,
definitely. He's got a stan army for sure.
Exactly. Like they're the worst too.
The whole thing at Soldier Field where like it's
Donda.
like, fuck him, Donda. Yeah, like he's the worst. Yeah, he's such a tool.
Jerry, big fan.
Yeah, and it was him that got up there when Taylor Swift won the
Yep.
Grammy
Yep.
and said she didn't deserve
Well, I
it.
think
right?
it
Like,
was
if
Beyonce.
you
He
did-
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. If you
Yeah.
did nothing else in your life but stole that moment from Taylor Swift, who I don't
She
know
was like a
anyone that
teenager at
doesn't
that
like
time.
her,
Yeah.
then that alone would put you in the Tool Hall of Fame. So yeah, great pick.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he lasted this long.
Yeah, that's what I couldn't believe it, and he had to get drafted in my eyes, so I had to do it, even though I really wanted to take someone else. All right, Chief, what do you need last?
I actually wanted to take Axe there. So but now like the disparity between Axe and what I'm about to pick is like as big as the Grand Canyon, but flashlight. In terms of just like useful tools, power goes
Nope.
out.
That pick sucks.
What?
That pick sucks.
Why does it suck?
What a
Because
reaction.
Our cell phones like made them obsolete.
that's a fucking flashlight. That's
But
also a
but
flashlight.
But you're talking
So,
like.
all right, then Dave, I'm taking the iPhone just like you took the remote.
Go for it.
I mean,
Wait,
like
wait,
that's
wait.
the
This
same
is
fucking
household,
thing,
right?
right? Yeah,
Household?
yeah. That's my last
It was
one.
on my list. I think
Yeah.
it's a good pick. I get your point, Dave, but
But like I have Roku app on my or remote on my phone. So then like fuck your remote control. You don't need that either.
I can get the Comcast app on my phone too.
That's what I'm saying.
we almost
So
went the
you're
whole
taking
draft
the
without
you're taking the
semantics.
phone.
No, I'm taking flashlight, but you're like,
Yeah.
oh, the iPhone made that obsolete. Well, you can say that about the remote control too,
But
which
like
you just did.
But that's fine. But I'm thinking like the physical flashlight. They're like gonna be stopped being sold now.
What are the ones that they like use as weapons too?
Maglite?
Yeah,
Maglite, yeah.
Maglites.
I was just going to say, in defense of the noble, humble flashlight, no state trooper ever threatened to beat a kid with a who had a 12-pack of beer or whatever.
Right.
With an
iPhone. Yeah.
But you get that one has 8D batteries and it weighs about 40 pounds and you can swing it like a shillelagh.
And those are like I think the iPhone flashlight like does the job 90% of the time. But when you need a real flashlight, like if you're out looking for your dog or you're like doing stuff like you can't just use the iPhone like that. They're like having the actual flashlight, like that fucking torch in your hands is better than the iPhone. And I would say that the iPhone remote control version is just as good as the one you have in your hand. So if your point is that, then you just killed your own pick.
I like it. There was something about when the power went out, you needed the flashlight.
Fifth round. I mean, we're talking about a fifth round pick.
If that's your justification, fifth round, fine.
What are those lights on construction sites they put in? Those are way fucking better. You know what I'm talking about? Like
that's like a giant lamp.
What's the name of those things? Those big fucking they got 10,000 power candles and all that stuff. They're like, don't look into those because you'll die.
I think that's called a lamp.
Is it?
Sounds like a lamp to me.
Sounds like a big powerful lamp.
All right, flashlight off the board. Jerry, you're up. You need a celebrity.
I need a celebrity. Okay, I'm gonna go with one that's way more tool than celebrity. And when I first broke into comedy, this guy gave me this speech about how it's a pie chart and all the pieces are the same size. So yeah, you have to be funny, but also be good to work with, be a good guy, be on time or whatever. This is a guy whose douchebaggery is disproportionate to anything he actually accomplished as a celebrity. And that man's name is Michael Rappaport.
Ooh, he's such a tool.
Like if Tom Hanks was that big an asshole, you would go, you're not good enough to treat people like this. Rappaport has zero redeeming qualities, and yet somehow had like network TV gigs. He's known. He has a following that I can't fathom, but gets a job here where people like. I remember Minahan telling me when Minahan was still on the radio saying, I just don't get Rappaport. I like everybody else at Barstool. What's he doing there? I'm like, I don't know. And then he comes and the first thing he does is act like a tough guy and then turtle anytime someone claps back at him and then hates his target audience and lets it be known that he hates the target audience. Again, the biggest star in the world couldn't get away with that shit, and he's like an F-list celebrity. So
has he disappeared now? Like, is he still out there?
He's on Netflix.
Remember when he got canned or whatever, and
you fired fuck,
and like all the stoolies were just tanking his fucking podcast numbers like with 1-star reviews, and he was still technically like a part of our network at the time. We're just tanking our own podcast. I want it to be on the record, and I hope Chief will defend me here, that I was on the fuck Michael Rappaport train like
I do
well before the rest of Barstool was. I never publicly said it because he was a coworker and everything, but fuck that guy. He is the worst. He is such a tool.
Jerry, are you a Stern guy?
I was.
Yeah, he was.
You listen to classic Stern and then you flip to current Stern because they're adjacent to each other on the dial, and it's jarring. It's night and day how good he used to be and how awful he is now.
Yeah, and I think he's in his world too, and people hate him over there too. So when Barstool hired him, I was like, really? I couldn't believe it. But yeah, needless to say, Jerry, that's a good pick.
Yeah, just don't know what he brought to the table here, but you give him a shot, I guess. I remember him trying to run like the fantasy football draft, and all right, well, maybe I can do something with this guy. Mm-hmm. And that day when he got let go was just pure genius. It was a pleasure to watch Stoolies like just descend on this guy, flying out of the witch's castle like the monkeys that they are, and ripping him to shreds.
And the worst part about him is the amount of virtue signaling he does.
Yeah, you said he's still around. He just guest hosted the Wendy Williams show for Wendy Williams. So
what the
Wendy Williams is like a monster in a good way, like a monster name too. Like why
she's got a network
daytime
show.
TV.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, he's still around. Carl, Mr. Irrelevant.
The word I was looking for is floodlight. Not my pick. I am in between. Jerry opened up the door to outdoor power tools. So I'm very interested in taking lawnmower here last, Mr. Irrelevant. I like a lawnmower. I like mowing the lawn. I think it's the fucking principal outdoor activity you can do. Blah, blah. I don't need to be selling you guys on a lawnmower.
The ultimate white guy dad move is mowing your lawn into patterns.
Oh, yeah.
Like getting those nice stripes down there. Jerry, I'm sure you
do that, Jerry?
I'm raising my hand. Guilty as charged. Yeah, it took me a long time to finally admit I want to be a lawn guy, and I became a lawn guy. And it's the single dullest thing that you can do. It's dadism in its purest form. And I'm with you. I like my lawn more. I
every
do you
dad.
Do the patterns, Jerry?
Yeah, he does.
What's that now?
You do the patterns?
Yes.
I know you must have a picture of your lawn, right? Can we send that out?
So you know what? I'll see. It's not had the best. It's not had the best year.
Okay.
But yeah. But when it looks like crap, nothing makes me happy. And when it looks good, like it's hard for anything to really bother me. And again, as I say this, I know that everyone's swallowing their tongues with boredom because it's such a personal thing. It doesn't translate to anyone. But when the Irish Rose is teaching a voice lesson and the mom comes in and says, "Wow, who does your lawn?" "Oh, my husband does." I'm like, okay, my work here is done. I can go back to my home world.
Yeah. There was something maybe 15 years ago when baseball teams started just putting patterns in their outfield and the infield all the time. And it just blows my mind. I'm like, how the fuck do you put a logo in grass? I can't wrap my mind around it. So I don't know what they're using, if they're...
I think it's different grasses.
It's different grass,
I could be
species? I was guessing they would fold it or something.
Get the sod father on the phone right now.
Ask him.
I always took it as it's they lower the blade, so there's the contrast.
Could be.
But again, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never been able to. I'm if I get the crisscross, the diamond pattern, then I'm over
that's
the moon.
impressive.
But yeah, when they put out All-Star game in the center field or whatever it is, I'm blown away by that.
And push mower, Carl, just to be clear. Kidding.
We never had a push mower. Or never had a ride. We never had a rider.
My dad,
and that was another.
We've had a riding mower, but my dad's got almost an acre lot right now, and he does it all by hand. And I've done that same yard by hand. It takes an hour and a half. It's the fucking worst.
Our yard used to take 4 hours, and because there was all the little plant beds that you had to go around and shit. That was the number. If I really fucked up, it was you got the lawn. You got the lawn because that thing.
That's you're the oldest. Yeah, you're the oldest brother.
Yep.
That's the oldest brother. It's innately your job.
Yeah, I don't think my younger brother cut it once in his entire life.
In his entire life, probably. Fuck. My brother never touched a lawn.
It didn't occur to me until just now.
Yeah, you're just I know this is the wrong word to use, but you're grandfathered into you to being the lawnmower guy if you're the oldest brother.
And my dad's not handy, so he would the lawnmower just would not die. So he would have it the cover of the engine was covered with chicken wire, held in place with literal popsicle sticks. And then every time a wheel would break, he'd go to Home Depot, but he would forget to bring another wheel with him or didn't want to take it off. So he was guessing the wheel size. So that thing was always wobbling like this.
Tough.
Yeah. And then he'd yell at me for not having it perfectly aligned. I'm like, well, you got 4 different size wheels on this thing.
All right. Well, I'll read them off. And then we'll do some honorable mentions. We'll get out of here. White Sox Dave, Ken Griffey Jr., table saw, Justin Bieber, axe, remote control, Eddie, power drill, plunger, screwdriver, Barry Bonds, Kanye West, Chief Ice Scraper, Shohei Ohtani, electric sander, Chris Cuomo, flashlight, Jerry Thornton, Swiss Army knife, Mookie Betts, chainsaw, socket wrench, Michael Rappaport, Carl, Mark Wahlberg, Bo Jackson, hammer, corkscrew / bottle opener combo, lawn mower. All right, Jerry, you got any honorable mentions here for you?
I didn't want to be too colloquial. Otherwise, I was going to go with a local hero of mine. Julian Edelman is a 5-tool guy because he not only was a slot receiver and a punt returner, he beat the Ravens with touchdown passes.
Quarterback at Kent State, right?
Didn't he play corner?
He played defensive back, right, in the Super Bowl against the Giants in 2000.
I do remember that. Yep.
And was a quarterback at Kent State.
You said Dion. One I really liked, Magic Johnson. He played all 5 positions.
That's true too. How about a guy, Dave Winfield, was drafted in three different sports.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's drafted baseball, basketball. I think he's the only one baseball, basketball, football. Yeah.
I remember his Hall of Fame speech. He's like, I was drafted to play football in the NFL, basketball in the NBA, but I chose the greatest game on earth, baseball.
I think it was.
I appreciate that.
2 basketball leagues, 2 ABA and NBA. Box cutter.
Yep. That's a good one.
I also like
something you can cut an intruder's jugular with.
I like a power washer. Those are fun things. Clean the driveway.
Like a steam cleaner,
dude.
No, they're an outdoor thing.
I think this is a product of me getting older, but I've been looking at places to buy, and I cannot. Like, there's a couple places that have like the concrete patios that, and I can't wait to. If I do buy one, I can't wait to power wash it because I'm getting to that age.
That was
a leveler.
A level.
No one needs it. No one needs it until you need it. Until you're like, what is it? But I guess in the argument we have here, it's on my phone. So
the power washer. So I worked in a factory in college, and my first day on the job, I didn't really understand what the job was when I showed up. I showed up in like khaki pants. They're like, you can go down into like the loading dock, and we had an axle grease spill. Just go down there with a power washer, and I just had to for hours, just like power wash the whole loading bay. Sucked.
Scissors, nail clipper.
Scissors.
Good.
Scissors.
I bite my nails. It's disgusting.
The one celebrity that I really wanted, I don't know if it's obviously technically a celebrity, but was Martin Shkreli. Remember that guy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had a couple internet dust-ups with that guy. Yeah. Is he still in jail?
I think so. Maybe. Antonio Brown.
The worst.
Yep.
I wouldn't qualify him as a tool, I don't think.
T.O.?
T.O. is kind of a tool. Yeah.
Spencer Pratt.
Spencer Pratt's a tool.
He was on my list for that, too.
I like his acting, but Shia LaBeouf's kind of a tool.
I fucking hate that guy, too.
Yeah.
He is a tool. Who was... So this just popped in my head. Who was Kourtney Kardashian's husband on the TV show?
Scott Disick.
Scott Disick's a fucking tool.
Good one. I have tape measurer. That's very handy for hand tool. Pliers. Sawzall. Surprised that didn't get drafted for power tool.
Is Matt Nagy a tool?
No, man, egg is not a tool.
He's an idiot.
He's incompetent.
Nail gun, air compressor. That's all I have.
A couple of simple tools. I was thinking a ladder.
Yeah.
I mean, another one of those ones like hammer that's just so obvious. Another one I was thinking tire iron, and I'm talking about the L-shaped one, not the one that's like a cross, because it'll take your tires off. It will operate your jack. And if you're in a road rage incident, there is no better tool to have. Like in any fight that doesn't involve a gun, if you're the guy holding the tire iron,
you win.
You've
good to
won
go.
that debate.
Yeah. You're good to go.
You've won the debate.
All right, Jerry. Thanks for hopping on. This was great. It was fun banter here.
Yeah. Hey, this was great, guys. Thanks for having me on. And again, I'm available anytime. But get Jersey Jerry on there too.
No. And we'll get you back on for like some type of football one. We'll definitely come back with
Good
that.
draft, Jerry.
We can talk some Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Right. Do we declare a winner on this, or
the people
the real
vote?
Victory, the friends that you make along the way.
No. So this will air the 29th Monday, and then on Tuesday the 30th we will run a poll on Twitter that will tag in and everything. The only big things obviously is don't leak the picks beforehand. So then Tuesday, and then we'll see, and a winner will be declared Wednesday. So, that's really it.
I do think now we should have a Jerry draft. We can draft Jerome's, Jerry's, Gerard's.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I love that. I think we should do that.
What
both
names?
Jerry's on.
Yeah, what name did we draft last time?
We did Joe.
We did Joe.
No, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy.
Sorry. James. Yeah.
Jimmy, James, and Jim. All right, Jerry. Thank you.
Thanks very much, fellas. And I know this will air after this, but for now, I'll say happy Thanksgiving to you all. Can't wait to talk to you again.
It was great.
Thank
Same
you,
to you, Jerry.
You as well. All right, everybody. That's it for today. We'll catch you all tomorrow. See you then.